You know, as I grow older, I realize that a broken back will just pretty much suck the living soul right out of ya. It's a miserable thing until you either deal with it or fix it. Fortunately, for most of us, that usually means just swapping our office chair or the place we sit at the most for a more ergonomic posture and better feel. Now, getting a new chair can be a very costly affair, plus there's so many of them. Thankfully, Hbada's E3 ergonomic office chair has been a godsend option for me. It's got a ton of ergonomic features to keep your back straight and healthy, and at the same time, it doesn't break the bank. Now, we're gonna do a detailed review to see all the cool features this thing has to help you guys decide if this is the right ergonomic chair for your needs. Keep in mind, when you order one of these bad boys, it comes in a pretty large box because there is a ton of content inside it. Once you open it up and you start assembling it, you realize the assembly, however, is actually very straightforward. First impressions matter, and the design language here definitely shows that. This chair is a clear inspirational mix between a executive office chair and a futuristic or modern looking office chair coming together to give you this chair right here. Now, you do have a lot of large physical presence here, but for good reason. You've got a lot of functionality, all of which we're going to talk about. You'll notice you have a T-shaped design with the backrest area. That is the primary ergonomic value or foundation for this chair. And you'll also notice you have a mix of various materials. So you've got metal, plastic, as well as mesh material coming together to design and form this entire chair. And it does feel quite premium and sturdy. Let's take a moment to talk about the 3-zone wing lumbar support we have here. That's a mouthful, but that's because there's a lot going on here. Now, at first glance, the mesh lumbar support seems quite pronounced, but the good news is you can actually adjust its overall depth, so how far it sticks out, and also its overall height, so you can adjust it based on how high you want it in your lower back zone. On top of that, you'll notice you have these really cool pad-shaped wings over here, and they're fully adjustable inwards or outwards, and the benefit is that they kind of cling onto your love handles. And at first it feels a little awkward admittedly, but once you get used to them, you get a lot of posture and cross-functional support for your back here, to the extent that if you're sitting on these chairs for long periods of time, you actually really appreciate it because it significantly wears down the fatigue that you would otherwise feel. Let's talk about these beefy armrests. I mean, these things are absolutely huge. However, they're gentle giants because you've got a comfortable rubberized finishing over here that's actually surprisingly soft and quite easy on your arms. But it's the adjustability with the 6D functionality that really got to me. I mean, there's so much you can do. So obviously you can adjust the height itself of each armrest up and downwards. You can also actually put them in a foldable position upwards or downwards with the buttons on the side, which is great if you're holding a controller, for example. You can move them inwards and outwards with a full tilt mechanism, or you could just move them outwards in a horizontal position. And if that's not enough, you can also move them back and forth a little bit. So if you want your armrest to be a little more back facing, you do have that option as well. The primary backrest piece is also fully height adjustable, so depending on how tall you are, you don't have to worry about it. You can completely make that go up or down based on your preference. Now, the real thing that really amuses me is the colossal sized headrest over here. I mean, this thing is the largest headrest I've probably seen on any chair that I reviewed on this channel. However, it does have the same mesh finishing, so it's got a nice degree of resistance and comfort at the same time. However, again, that 4D adjustability is really what makes it special. So you can adjust it in a up and down position where the headrest piece itself is. So if you wanted, kind of facing towards your lower neck, you can do that, for example. But you can also adjust the depth of the headrest to see how pronounced it is again for your degree of comfort. And you can also adjust it from the stem piece as well. This all means that your neck gets the perfect angle whether you're lounging or sitting in a straightforward position, and that headrest adjustability really allows you to just get the most out of this piece. One of my favorite things about this chair is the sliding footrest mechanism, which is just very smooth, by the way. Anyway, once you slide it, just flip over the pads and you'll notice that you actually have this really nice soft finishing on the pads to make sure that your feet are nice and comfortable. And don't worry, regardless of how heavy your feet are, this footrest can comfortably support them. It doesn't wobble, it can take a lot of weight. You'll also be happy to know, because you have lounging functionality, so you can get a full 140-degree tilt, you can comfortably rest on your chair, almost in a lying down position with the footrest on, and does it ever feel good. Like, it is awesome, guys. Making our way up, the first thing we're gonna notice is the nice large base cushion over here, and it's got a mesh finishing like the rest of the seating area. And I gotta tell you, the mesh quality is top notch. It's not excessively firm, but it's also not too cushiony either, so it should be great for most weight classes. Now, what I do like, aside from the large surface area, is the fact that you also have a little bit of adjustability. So when you install, you can actually have a 2-inch variation depending on what's comfortable for you. You'll notice you do have a high load bearing star-shaped metal base over here with the 5 arms sticking out, and each of these arms of course does have a roller or wheel attached to it. And also, I gotta tell you, the wheels are really smooth to move around, but also for such a heavy chair, they don't make any noise whatsoever. They're completely muted, which is a nice quality of life feature to have. Now, the whole thing is of course held together with a standard gas cylinder mechanism. Hbada's E3 ergonomic chair definitely brings a ton of ergonomic value. I mean, just look at the sheer amount of customization and adjustability you have here, whether it's the headrest piece or the lumbar support or the armrest or even the gas cylinder mechanism. It's all coming together very nicely here. And if you were to get this with a competitor product, you often end up paying 2, even 3 times the price to get all these ergonomic features in a single package. On top of that, you have a super comfortable footrest over here, which is also nice. And the chair, generally speaking, has a very premium feel to it. Now, keep in mind, this chair is fairly large and does have a big physical footprint. So if you're in a very tight space, I would keep that in mind. But for everyone else, this is a great chair that brings so much personality to any office or studio environment alike. If you're interested in the Hbada E3 ergonomic office chair, I obviously have product links in the video description below, as well as other useful information. So make sure you check all that out. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit the like button and consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.